or 93.2 FM, island-wide.
Good evening. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your news roundup.
The top story on Gold FM.
Tensions remain critically high on day 24 of the Middle East conflict, marked by fresh missile exchanges, conflicting diplomatic signals from Washington and Tehran, and a significant rupture in Iran-Lebanon relations. US President Donald Trump announced earlier today that the United States held what he described as a very good and productive conversation with Iran, prompting him to postpone for 5 days any planned strikes on Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure. Trump linked the pause to progress towards a complete and total resolution of hostilities and renewed pressure to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Markets reacted with a brief drop in oil prices and hopes of de-escalation. Iran moved swiftly to reject the claims. The foreign ministry and senior officials, including Parliamentary Speaker Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, insisted that there had been no direct or indirect contact with the United States, dismissing the reports as fake news designed to manipulate financial and oil markets. Tehran reiterated that it would not negotiate while under attack and that the Strait of Hormuz would not return to normal operations under current conditions. On the military front, Iran launched a new wave of ballistic missiles and drones towards the Israel and Gulf targets overnight and into this morning. Strikes were reported near Tel Aviv and in southern Israel close to Dimona, where more than 180 people were wounded, some seriously. Iranian missiles also targeted sites in the Gulf Arab states. Israel responded with airstrikes on regime infrastructure in and around Tehran, causing further damage and power outages. In a notable diplomatic escalation, Lebanon declared Iran's ambassador Mohammad Reza Sheibani persona non grata. The Lebanese Foreign Ministry withdrew his accreditation, citing breaches of diplomatic protocol and established norms between the two countries, and ordered him to leave by Sunday. Lebanon has also recalled its own envoy from Tehran for consultations. The move comes among heightened Israeli operations in southern Lebanon, including strikes on bridges and Hezbollah positions, reflecting growing strain on Iran's regional allegiances. Meanwhile, Oman's Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi reiterated that the Sultanate is working intensively to put in place safe passage arrangements through the Strait of Hormuz. He described the war as not of Iran's making and warned of deepening global economic disruption if the conflict continues. Oman stressed its traditional role as a neutral mediator, but stopped short of any pledge to unilaterally clear or reopen the waterway. The strait itself remains heavily restricted, with most commercial shipping at a standstill due to Iranian threats and insurance concerns, keeping energy prices volatile.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Queuing returns to petrol stations across several regions following supply restrictions by IOC and other private distributors. Association of Petroleum Station Owners President Kumar Rajapaksa reported significant disruptions, with many outlets forced to close. Conflicting statements emerged from the government as Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalinda Jaytissa denied claims by the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation that recent price adjustments followed the official fuel formula. Meanwhile, police in Bogahegidra arrested a businessman for the illegal stockpiling of over 6,000 litres of diesel and petrol. In the transport sector, bus services resumed after the government approved a 12% fare increase. The Private Bus Owners Association warned of further hikes in April if fuel prices continue to rise, while school van operators announced a 12% fee increase scheduled for May. The Cabinet of Ministers approved a proposal today to eliminate all transaction charges for QR code-based digital payments under 5,000 rupees. The initiative aims to accelerate the transition towards a digital economy by removing financial barriers for both senders and receivers. Despite over 20 financial institutions supporting Lanka QR facilities, government data shows a continued heavy reliance on cash for daily retail activities. Statistics from the third quarter of 2025 reveal that while 274,000 transactions occurred via the platform, active usage remains lower than national targets. Sri Lanka initiated formal state-level negotiations with Russia to secure stable fuel supplies through intergovernmental agreements. Cabinet spokesperson Dr. Nalinda Jaytissa confirmed that a high-ranking Russian energy official anticipates a visit to Colombo shortly to finalise terms. A letter signed by Sri Lankan politicians across party lines, including opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and former President Ranil Wickremesinghe, is calling on international professional bodies to intervene, warning that the country's media and legal institutions face what they describe as a grave and sustained threat to their survival. The letter makes for alarming reading. At its heart is a warning of the slow erosion of the very institutions that hold a democratic society together. The letter speaks of the event on the 13th of February, when attorney-at-law Buddhika Mallavarachi and his wife were shot dead in broad daylight near a high-security zone. The letter goes on to say that within an hour, police issued statements suggesting the killing was linked to the lawyer's criminal clients. The signatories to this letter call that intervention reckless, a deliberate attempt, they say, to shape public perception before any investigation began. But it is the letter's warning about the media that strikes perhaps the sharpest note. The Sri Lankan government is pushing an anti-terrorism law, and the letter states plainly that media institutions are directly targeted by its provisions. Owners, editors, executives and journalists at every level, it says, face obvious vulnerability. The signatories argue that the legislation strikes at the very root of democratic values and demonstrably breaches Sri Lanka's obligations under the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. The letter also points to what it calls the extreme politicisation of the police force, undermining public confidence in the impartiality of criminal investigations, including the inquiry into the lawyer's killing. The letter closes with a direct appeal, urging international legal and professional bodies to intervene to help preserve, in their words, a culture which we have held sacrosanct over the decades. The Colombo Chief Magistrate ordered the release of former Sri Lankan Airlines chairman Nishantha Wickremesinghe on bail today, following his arrest by the Bribery Commission. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption apprehended Wickremesinghe on charges of corruption involving the misappropriation of over 2.8 million rupees. Investigations revealed that between 2012 and 2014, Wickremesinghe arranged for the national carrier to pay fuel allowances to then Civil Aviation Minister Priyankara Jayarathne, despite the minister already receiving such allocations through his ministry. The court granted bail to Wickremesinghe on two sureties of 5 million rupees each, imposing an overseas travel ban and adjourning the case until the 28th of July. The Colombo High Court ordered the bribery case against Member of Parliament Chamara Sampath Dasanayake to be called on the 30th of April. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption alleges that Dasanayake committed corruption while serving as the Minister of the Uva Province in 2016.
Now for some news in brief.
The Department of Examination has announced that online applications for the 2026 GCE Advanced Level Examination open today and remain available until the 24th of April.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange gained 706.26 points to close at 21,071.23 today. The S&P SL20 index also gained 222.41 points to close at 5,909.23. Total market turnover was 4.2 billion rupees. Sri Lankan gold prices climbed today as local markets defied a sharp downturn in international trade. Retailers in Colombo quoted a 24-carat gold sovereign as 385,000 rupees, a rise of 20,000 rupees since yesterday. The 22-carat sovereign similarly rose to 360,000 rupees. Ratnaraja Saravanan, General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Jewellers Association, attributed the spike to private banks purchasing the dollar at significantly higher prices. Traders also cited fluctuating global oil prices and the ongoing Middle East conflict as driving factors for the sudden increase. A shortage of fresh imports persists across the local scene, forcing a heavy reliance on recycled stock. While some international researchers previously anticipated a price ceiling near the $4,000 mark, recent rebounds suggest values will remain above that threshold for the foreseeable future. The domestic surge contrasts with global trends, where spot gold fell as much as 2% to $4,335.97 per ounce.
International news on Gold FM.
Australia and the European Union signed a $10 billion free trade agreement in Canberra today, following 8 years of intense negotiations. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen confirmed the deal removes almost all tariffs while increasing cooperation on defence and critical minerals. While European car makers welcomed the accord, farmers in both regions expressed dissatisfaction over the agreed export quotas for Australian beef and lamb. President von der Leyen described the pact as a move towards collective resilience against a changing global geopolitical landscape.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
A California jury ordered Bill Cosby to pay $19.25 million to a woman he drugged and assaulted in 1972. The former waitress testified that the entertainer incapacitated her with a pill and wine during a trip to one of his shows.
Sports news on Gold FM.
The Indian Premier League side Rajasthan Royals was sold to a consortium led by Carl Somani for $1.63 billion. The group includes Walmart's Rob Walton, with a formal announcement expected later. The deal is signed and sources expect the transaction to close following the 2026 IPL season. The takeover will conclude after the current tournament finishes. Somani, a US-based entrepreneur and existing minority stakeholder, partnered with Walton for the acquisition. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and have a lovely night ahead.